Hey, what is up, guys? How you doing? I'm Saber here, and this will be my first deck profile video of Charlotte Katakuri, one of the leaders for the One Piece TCG. I love this leader. It's actually very strong. I've been playing this on the sim, and I've been waiting for this leader for a while now, and I'm glad this is here. And set 3's already arrived as well, so I'm happy that we got Katakuri and the rest coming in now this week. So here's my deck profile. So obviously with Katakuri, you obviously add a Dawn to him. Alright, you add a Dawn, and then you can swing for 7 due to the effect. When you add a Dawn, and when attacking, you can look at the opponent's top life or the bottom life. Or, no, my bad. Disregard that. You can look at your top life of your opponent or your own life. And you can decide to keep it there, or you can put in the bottom. Now, I basically do this obviously early, and I look at the top of my life and first to see what I have. Um, if you want to look at your opponents first, then that's fine, depending on who they're playing. But most of the time, you're going to look at your life to see what you got, because then you can see what you got, and you can think of a strategy depending on what you have in your life. So, yep, Charlotte Katakuri, good leader, love it. Always swinging for 7, and the opponent has to use 2 cards or take the life or use a blocker to defend. Regardless, you're getting that 1 card. It's 70-65% of the time, because if they have a 6K blocker, they just rest it and then they 2K it. So boom, you get rid of a card. So Charlotte Katakuri, good leader. So we'll just leave him there. Now our first 1 cost character is Pudding. Charlotte Pudding. This is our searcher. She is very, very important because you obviously need to get that card. So you play her. Top 4 cards you can take, and then you can pick which Big Mom you want to take to your hand, and obviously put the rest in the bottom. So she's very important. So play her at all cost. When it's your first time, it's your 1 Dawn, 2 Dawn. You play it right away so you can see what card you got. So don't, if you have like 3 or 2 of puddings, then just play 1, maybe 2. Don't play all of them, obviously, unless you have a very bad hand after Mulligan as well. So pudding, definitely a good card. We love it. Now our next 1 cost is our chef guy Strusen. He is obviously one of my favorite 2K counters as well. And I basically play him just for 2Ks, but you can also play him as well due to the effect, as he obviously can get rid of a 1 cost card on the opponent's side, but you obviously have to trash a card with the trigger, so for his effect to work. But you'll mostly be using this card for 2Ks, unless you want to get rid of, let's say, the opponent's Nami or Buggy. Like, say the opponent's playing Law, you want to get rid of the blocker, or you want to get rid of the Nami. It's definitely a good. This is definitely a good card against a law players, because obviously you can get rid of their 1 cost and their cards in trash. So good card, 2K, love it. So you gotta run 4 of these, definitely important as well. Now our next 2 costs is obviously our next Charlotte Pudding. It's from the starter. She is a 2K, and she can also make you can look at the top of your opponent's life or your own life, and it's very good. It's a good card, but mostly you'll use this card for 2Ks. Definitely use this for 2Ks. But if you have no cards you can play and you have 2 Dawn, 3 Dawn, and this is the only card you can basically play, the rest you want to keep or you just can't play, and then play this card so you can at least see the top of your life or your opponent, but you mostly want to see the top of your life when you have 2 Dawn if you go in second, because you basically can't swing. You're at 2 Dawn. You can't swing in first turn. So if you have this card and you can only play this card when you have 2 Dawn and you went second, you lost a dice roll, play this card so you can at least look at the top of your life so you can plan out a strategy when it's your next turn. Definitely important. But 2K, so definitely perfect. She's a 2K, which I love as well. You gotta love your 2Ks. 2Ks are very important. Our next 2 cost is Pudding's lover, Sanji. Sanji is very, very strong. This card is very dangerous to a lot of players because obviously when you attach 2 Dawn, you swing for 5. When attacking, regardless of the life or the leader, you can obviously take the card from the top of your life, add it to your hand, and then take the card from the top of your deck and then put it to your life. And it's a really good card. This card is a threat, so you definitely want to get rid of this card or protect it. If you're playing a blocker and your Sanji is rested, use your blocker to defend Sanji. Or if your Sanji is active with no blocker, or you have a blocker in your field, regardless, if your Sanji is active, your opponent will most likely try to use a card to rest Sanji or to KO him. Like if your opponent's playing green, they rest it and then swing at it, or your opponent's playing red, they try to use what they can to KO it. Because this card is very dangerous, and this is a good card as well. It's also a 2K as well. So Sanji, this is like one of the top cards. I'd say like top four, top five, top tier cards. So this is a very important card for yellow. So definitely run for Sanji's. It's perfect. Love it. Next, we have two blockers, or not, should I say, two cost of blockers, Charlotte Galette. So this is definitely new to a lot of people. I run Charlotte Galette because it's good to have extra blockers, and she's a 2 cost 2K, and she's simple. So if you want to add a blocker to your field, as most players, they only have a Broly blocker, and then they got their event cards. I do recommend running two of these, but if not, then I completely understand. You don't have to run two of these, but I love running two of these Charlotte Galette because it's really good. I enjoy it. She's also a 1K as well, so it's amazing. Love it. So yeah. Also, we're not. You gotta forget the. Can't forget that our Searcher Pudding is also a 1K. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Our next card is a top tier card as well. We're gonna play 3 Sparrows. You could run 4 as well. 4 is good. I'm running 3 for now because I'm actually enjoying running 3 only. It's actually pretty good. It's not really bad or it's not broken, but it's really good. Also, I don't have a fourth one, but I'm enjoying running 3. 3 is actually not bad. It's pretty good. But if you want to add a fourth one and get rid of like this character, obviously, again, you can get rid of this character and then add a fourth Sparrow. Go right ahead. And his trigger is you just play him and then you trash a card from your hand. So it's a very strong card. This is a strong card. Get from trigger because then you have a 5K swing, and also your opponent has to decide to get rid of him as soon as possible, or just use what they can to defend the attack from him because obviously if he gets KO'd, you can search the top 3 and review and take a Big Mom Pirate, add it to your hand. So it's very, very strong, and I love this card. The trigger is amazing as well. So definitely run this 3 or 4, no more than less. So good card, love it. It's perfect. Next, we're gonna have 3 cost of Broly. We're running 4 of these as it is another blocker. Very weak blocker, 3 costs and 1K, very weak, but I do like her because obviously if you get her off from trigger, you can just play her and that's it. No trash card, no nothing. Nothing's needed. So just really good card. So if obviously this card gets revealed from your leader or from Charlotte Pudding, then just leave it in the top obviously, and then you can basically play the card if the opponent attacks the life. So definitely leave this on the top of your life and then play the trigger. But if not, then obviously you can use it for a 1K. She's a 1K. I mean, playing her with 3 Dawn from your hand is not bad, but that's only if there's nothing else you can do and you have like nothing to use for the 3 Dawn. So, but you mostly use her for 1K and from life. So, yeah. So perfect. 4 Broolies. Now let's go. We're gonna go 2 Charlotte Opera. It's a vanilla 1K. 4 costs 6K. So not a bad swing. If you want to swing for 7, you can add a Dawn and then swing for 7. But it's a vanilla, really good card. Obviously, there's cards out there that can rest it / get rid of it. But obviously, it's going to cost the opponent more to get rid of this card if after you play it. But good card, vanilla. Enjoy it. So also 1K. So definitely use that. Our next card is another important card. Is Smoothie. Now, I know people run like 2, but I actually run 4 Smoothies because her trigger is actually not bad. It's the same as Sparrow. Play her, trash a card. Her effect obviously is you can take the card from top of your life. You obviously lose a life. Add it to your hand though, and then she gains plus 2,000 for the rest of the turn, if I'm not mistaken. Rest of the turn or rest of the battle? Let's see. For the battle, actually, not the turn. So it's very strong, and then you can add like an extra Dawn or 2, and then swing for 9 if you want to. So very good card. She's also a 1K, and her trigger is not bad as well. So you never know if you need to get characters on your field, and she's off from trigger, and then you have a card that you don't want, you want to just trash, go right ahead. But obviously, if your opponent has a lot of cards, then you can just take it and keep it in your hand. Don't play it because you have to trash a card. But then again, you have a 5K swing, or 7 if you use the effect. But this effect is definitely used early and late game. I definitely recommend using early or late game. Late game for to finish the game, to go for game. Early game so you can get pressure on your opponent to obviously take the life or use a lot of their cards or get rid of their field. So it depends. But really good card. I enjoy. I run 4. If you want to run 3 or 2, completely understandable. Now, obviously, our next card is a card that I love. You might not use the effect that much, but we go 4 Crackers. It's a 1K counter, which I love as well. Cracker's a very good card, and if your opponent has more life than you, then he gains double attack. So all you need is less life. So if you want to obviously bait your opponent, just take the life. You have less life than your opponent, and then this guy gets double attack, which is good. He's a 5K though, 4 cost, but he's also good on trigger. So if you have him on life, and your opponent has like say you have like 3 or 2 life, and then your opponent has like 4 or 5, you're basically in a rough spot. Then you use your lead to look at the top of the life, and then you see him. Obviously, keep him there so you can play him, trash a card, and then your opponent's got to get rid of it, or they can't get rid of it. They already used all their plays. It's your turn, and then boom, you have a double attack because you have less life. So definitely a good card. Trigger I love as well. Obviously, I repeat it. Trash a card to play this guy. Really good. 1K counter. Really good card. Was one of my favorite cards in the deck, so I enjoy it. Now, obviously, our next card is not a big mom, but it's a very strong card from Trigger. It's Sure Hoshi. I run 4 of these because if you get her off trigger, then you can draw 3 trash 2, and then what if you have like 3 big moms and Katakuris in your hand or 2, and then you can't really play them, or you need 1K or 2K counters to defend a character or your life. Shirahoshi's perfect, mostly good to play from trigger, but if you have her in your hand and you have no way to add her to life to play her, then just use her for a 1K. Just get rid of her because the 5 cost is too much and she has 0 power. So wasting 5 Dawn to play this card, if that's like the only thing you can do, like literally the only thing, you have 5 Dawn left and you swung, you have everything, there's nothing else you can do, you have no events, no nothing, then just play her if you need to change your hand. But if you have other things, play other cards than this. So the strong card, I'll explain the Shirahoshi tactic in a bit. Now our next is we have 3 7-cost Big Moms. This card is very strong because your opponent obviously chooses, do they want to trash a life or they give you a life. So most of the time opponents will actually give you an extra life, but it's a very good, terrible decision for the opponent because they don't know what to do. But again, most of the opponents, which I've been seeing as well when I've been playing with this deck already the last couple of days, that the opponents been giving you life, so you can have an extra life because you never know if they're playing like Ace or maybe something that's they have double attack and they can do that, or rush, then they'll be like, all right, well, I guess we'll give you that card, but then hopefully that card is not a 1K 2K or anything trigger. So but regardless, if they give you the life from the top of your deck, you don't know what it is though, but it could be a trigger or a 2K, who knows. The only worst outcome is it being a Katakuri or this Big Mom or a 10-cost Big Mom because you can't play it from trigger. You just add it to your hand and then that's it. But yeah, this is a strong card. Amazing. Definitely play this when you have 7 Dawn because then your opponent is going to be thrown off guard and granted to decide. So definitely perfect. So our next card is I run 2 8-cost Katakuris. Now I love this card because you can choose to add 8 cost if I'm not mistaken. 8-cost card or less to your own life if you like to, face up though. So basically the opponent will know what is in your life. But this is a very strong card. I love it. It's a very good 8 cost, 8,000 power. So definitely use this card if you have a card on the field that's a trigger and you want to put it back into your life. It's very perfect. I don't know about hand though, but I know you could do it from field. It doesn't say from your hand. It just says play an 8 cost or less to the top. Add up to 1 character with a cost of 8 to the owner of the life card. It doesn't say through hand, so you basically do it from the field, if I'm not mistaken. So, which I've done it and no one said nothing, so yeah, this is it. I just wanted to point it out to you guys. But yep, 2 categories. Now our next final card, and it's the very strongest card of all time, is Charlotte Lillian, Big Mom herself, the other Big Mom. I run 4 of these because if you have this card, good, because as soon as you have 10 Dawn, just play it because you have a strong card and character and you gain a life and they lose a life as well. It's the same as a 7 cost, but they don't choose, it just goes through. So you basically gain a life, they trash a life. Great card, strong. 10 Dawn though, obviously, but don't play it if you're gonna lose next turn depending on their field. They have like 3 characters and they have their leader and then you have like 1 life or no life, then playing this is not really good because I mean you'll gain a life, but you need to get rid of your opponent's field. So if you have, unless you have like 4 characters that you can swing without wasting more than one Dawn. Or should I say, you have like 5 costs, 6 costs in your field, and you want to obviously swing, then go right ahead. Oh, sorry. But this card is very strong. I do playing it ASAP. Do not play it if you have no life or if you have 1 life. But if your opponent only has their leader that they can attack with, and you have 1 life or no life, and you have 1K, 2K counters in your hand, then yeah, play it because then obviously you'll be safe unless they have like 2 rush cards. Then who knows what will happen? So strongest card ever. And then the last card is a 2-cost event is Ikoku Sovereign, gives you a plus 5,000. And on trigger, you basically trash 2 cards from your hand, and then you can add the top card from your life or a top card from your deck and add it to your life. So trigger is not bad. It's okay. That's only if you need it. And if you have a lot of 2Ks in your hand and you get this card from trigger, depending on the situation, if they have like 2 more swings, then just keep it. But if you want to get rid of your cards, your 1K, 2K counters, then go ahead. But if you have 2 cards that are not 1K or 2K counters, then use the trigger, get rid of those 2 so you can gain a life. Maybe they'll give you a Brulee trigger or a trigger that can basically make you play a character, or who knows. So definitely, but mostly use this for 2 Dawn. So it's definitely powerful. Plus 5,000, very strong. You could definitely keep your big people, Big Mom Katakuri alive with this card, unless they swing a lot. Like if they're playing ace and they're swinging for like 20 or something, then probably not. But very good. But other than that, that's the full deck profile of Katakuri. I do enjoy it. If you guys want me to upload a guide on this deck, then let me know, and then I'll upload a guide on this deck, because I do have a bunch of guides and suggestions for this deck. But if not, then don't worry about it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys want to see more deck profiles, I do have a Zoros, OP03, and a Nami. Just let me know in the comments, and then I'll upload it into YouTube. So be sure to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye, guys.